Hi, this is a very short tutorial on how to use nodes to simplify drawing schematics. So when we're doing diagrams with op amps, one of the things that makes it a little more complicated from a circuit diagram, just visual perspective, is that there are lots of inputs on the op amp, including the power supplies, and so that also means there's a lot of voltage sources. So what I want to show you a way is kind of a simple way to disconnect the sources from the main circuit. And so the way we're going to do that for this 10x inverting amplifier is just add 3 different voltage sources, and I'm gonna ground each of those sources. So on the minus side, they each have a ground, and I'm gonna give them 3 different names. And so the name of the first one is gonna be V in. Well, actually, I'll leave it as V1. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply nodes to each of the 3. So the first one is going to be V in, and so I put a node there, and that's going to be the same voltage that's going to go into the circuit. I'm going to apply another node to each of these. I'm going to have to relabel these in a second. But so what this allows us to do is to treat any place that says V in as basically being at the same voltage. So for this one, this is going to be my, I think I can do plus V supply. So it's the supply voltage. And the other one is going to be like minus V supply. And the plus V supply is going to go over here. And the minus V supply is going to go over there. So now I've got nodes that actually link the voltages on these supplies over to particular points in the diagram. And let me just move things just a little bit so it's not quite as crowded. And I'm going to stretch out this resistor just to give a little gap there around. Okay, so then that's a way cleaner way to do this diagram, and we can actually set the 2 voltage sources. Like the plus V supply is going to be at 4 volts. The minus V supply, because the op amp can, well, in this case I'm imagining I'm powering it with the open scope, so I am limited to values of plus and minus 4. And then for V in, this could be something more interesting, right? So this could be a sine wave, for instance, with like an amplitude of 0.1 volts and a frequency of, let's say, 100 hertz. All right, and let me again just do a little moving of stuff just so it's not quite so crowded. Okay, so there's our sources, and so we keep the diagram nice and neat. We've got our sources, and we need to add a run command. So I am going to add a Spice Directive. That Spice Directive will be an analysis command. And we're going to do a transient analysis. I'm going to do 0.1 seconds, so that should give me 10 oscillations. All right, so there's our analysis command, and now hit run. And if I click, say, on the input node, I see my 100 millivolt amplitude signal. If I click on the output, I see a plus or minus 1 volt signal with 100, so a gain of 10, but it's inverting. So just like we expected, and the main thing I wanted to show you was how you can use these voltage supplies in this way with a node. This is particularly helpful if you have multiple op amps on your diagram. So rather than having to draw a bunch of wires linking up all the supplies, you can actually kind of separate the supply visually from the main part of the circuit, so as not to make it overly complex visually. Hope that helps, and yeah, enjoy.